My mother just sold a gigantic home. We're going to talk about how she got this home, but that's not the important thing. She's now begging our family for money, my brother, me, and others, because she blew through all that money, and this is exactly how it happened. A little backstory. My mom, who is on SSDI, top tier, almost $2,800 a month, has a very hard time budgeting. Last year, she decided to sell my grandparents' house on Oregon to move back to Seattle area. She got the house by having my grandma with dementia change the will and cut out her 2 siblings. So, she sells the house, and instead of buying a reasonable home, she has limited mobility and a bad prescription drug addiction, and she falls often. She buys herself and her 3 cats a 4,000 square foot home in a gated community. There was literally no money left over from the sale or acquisition of a new home. I'd had to help by paying for moving vans and helpers. Before this, she had a settlement from a slip and fall lawsuit of roughly $50,000, which she instantly rolls into a brand new 2018 Toyota Highlander. Then, she backs into a tree and busts a taillight on a new car a few months after buying it. Goes to a dealership to fix the taillight. Decides she needs a brand new 2019 fully loaded Highlander with a tow package, which she has nothing to tow, so this is a mystery. She trades in her 2018 with 5,000 miles on it and takes out a $35,000 car loan. And this is on a fixed income, and she always has money struggles, so here is like $80,000 of car at this point. Excellent. She's constantly begging my brother, sister, and I for money. We are 38, 36, and 27, and all trying to establish ourselves in our lives, career, and financial security. I'm a stay-at-home mom with 2 young kids, who live off my husband's income as an apprentice tradesman, and have to be very frugal. We qualify to live in a low-income housing, and I always find ways to be resourceful, like donating our time and vehicles to help a local food bank, so we're able to get some food as well as help community. We don't own a home or brand new fancy cars, and if you take away rent and do the math for just us 2 adults, we live on less than her monthly SSDI. Yet, every month, she has a sad story about how she can't afford X or Y. She finally canceled her $175 a month TV plan. I've asked her more times than I can count to please not bring up money matters with me. I've offered to help her budget, but she refuses to help and only wants cash. Well, she brought up money the other day when she came up to our apartment to visit the grandkids. But really, she came up to pilfer the food bank. It's a transportation we do every Sunday before we drop a food bank off. Saying she did not have enough money to pick up her prescriptions. This is just after she told me she gets her prescriptions in the mail. I believe she has a drug-induced dementia from the 15 years of benzos and opiates. I told her I could spare $15 for gas money, but that was all. I explained we're a family of 4 living on 1 income, and we have a tight budget. I remind her she has had plenty of opportunity to save or spend her money more wisely. So she takes the $15 and goes. I get a call the next day of her crying, saying that the way I brought up her poor money choices was terribly upsetting. Pretty much making me out to be the villain and her the victim. This self-victimizing routine is her go-to. It's exhausting because I've done so much for her. I put my life on hold for 5 years after college to be her full-time caretaker. She fell and needed a hip replacement and got hooked on opiates. I could not hold down a job or any healthy relationships because I was constantly being called back home to get this or to get that for her. Take her to doctor appointments, etc. I could literally write a novel in all the ways I've helped her. I feel like this post is a novella. Anyways, Screw her for trying to make me out to be the bad guy. Because, well, I don't want to give her money to get extra prescriptions to fuel her addiction. Screw her for even putting it out there and begging my family for money when she has so much. And lastly, screw her for never respecting my boundaries, which I need to preserve for my well-being. After her sob story phone call, I was upset, and it took me a few hours to get my head on straight. I wasn't a good mom to my kids at the time, so to be a better mom to my kids, I'm putting old mom in time out. I need a break from her entitled self. End rant. Thank you, good night. Edit. Thank you so much for all the amazing responses. I'm on the verge of tears. It's been such a long, lonely path with my mom and I. Literally 0 peers which I can relate to. It's good to know I'm not alone. You are all the wind beneath my wings. Insert cheesy music. I've scanned the medical POA documents this morning and sent to her main doctor, and I'm finding the emails of the other doctors. I will submit claims for elder abuse relating to a few incidents, namely the car. I think this will be important in declaring her incompetent in the near future. I realize I've indeed been enabling her and am exhibiting codependent tendencies. I'm definitely driven by guilt. The need to be a good daughter, which I totally am and don't need to prove it again and again. I will have a lot to talk to my therapist about on Saturday. For now, the answer is no contact with her, so I'm able to heal and gather my wit/energy for the coming battle, pertaining to declaration of incompetence. I'm hoping with all my heart she decides to stop with the medicine and tries sobriety, yet my gut tells me she's not ready at this point, so I will protect myself in the ways that I can in the meantime. Okay, before I jump and start blaming the mom, I want to say my opinion on this story. Yes, she is in the wrong, but we have to remember I don't think she's mentally stable or mentally well, and she's going through a strong opioid addiction which can be insane. There's one comment I would like to read which basically agrees with what I said. You're saying it, but perhaps not hearing yourself. She's mentally unwell. Dealing with an addiction, cannot self-regulate, and may have dementia. You should perhaps sit down with the rest of your siblings and think about having her declared non-competent. She will obviously hate you for it, at least on days she remembers, but having her on a budget that matches her income and not legally able to enter in her contacts, I'll take a load off your siblings' mind, emotional well-being, and pocketbooks. Okay guys, let me know if you agree with that opinion of the commenter. Our next story we're going to look at is my sister-in-law tried to hijack my son's birthday for her gender reveal party. This is what happened. My husband and I have 2 children, both boys, now aged 11 and 14. My husband's younger sister now has 3 children, aged 7, 5, and 3. The year my youngest son, let's shorten to YS youngest son, was turning 4, he asked for a birthday party. He was not yet in school, so he did not know anyone but family, and there was no children other than his brother that were able to attend. Luckily, his favorite people in the world are Grandpa and G-Ma, Dad's parents. G-Ma is like a big kid. She's super fun and energetic. She acts much like a kid herself, and my boys adore her. I knew they were very busy, so I asked them several months in advance if they could attend his birthday party. The party was to be on his birthday. This is important. Being the wonderful grandparents they are, they agreed and requested that time off from their jobs. We also invited all close-by family, including my sister-in-law, the entitled mother of the story. Months go by, and it's now about a week and a half before my son's big day. I've bought the decorations, planned the menu, and pumped him up. I like to sing a final countdown song as I prepare breakfast in the morning. One afternoon, I receive a call from my sister-in-law, who's about to find out the sex of her baby. She's pregnant with baby number 1. She wants to plan a gender reveal party, but she's called her friends and family, and discovered that most work and can't attend without several weeks' notice for their job. The only day everyone just so happens to have off is my son's birthday. Would I be willing to move my son's birthday party to another day so she can have her party? At this point, may bear mentioning that she already has 3 baby showers planned and has asked me to take food. Most people being asked to attend her gender reveal party were already attending multiple baby showers for her. I'm pretty friendly and passive. This caught me very off guard. I tried to gently tell her that my son was looking forward to this, and we've had it planned for months. Which is why everyone had off from work in the first place. She feigned sympathy but still urged me please to move my son's birthday party to a time they could later attend, and let her have this open date for her party, for her first baby while you already have 2. Besides, youngest son loves babies, and would want to go to her party as well. He could still come to my party and see everyone he loves, and then get to do it all over again when everyone can request time off. I did not have time to gather a response as she steamrolled over me. Me saying, okay, if they want to go, I won't make them come to younger son's party, but I can't go to your party, we have plans. And her responding, thanks. I was angry. She had pulled this kind of thing with other people before, but she had always really loved my boys, and never tried anything like this with me. I did not know how to react other than vent to my husband, who wasn't surprised at all and said not to worry about that, their dad would set her straight. Funny enough, I was talking to my husband when I saw him, future in-law calling my phone. I answered and he said that my sister-in-law had told him I had no problem with her hijacking my son's birthday, and I had insisted she have the party and everyone go to that instead of younger son's birthday. He said if this was true that he would attend her party, but he would way rather go to the party for the younger son. He'd already gotten presents and they were excited about celebrating a kid that's already here on this big day. I very happily told him that I was never going to cancel his birthday or make him sit through someone else's party on his big day. I mean, he's 4. I've been counting down on him for every single morning. What kind of monster would I be to cancel? I said that I told sister-in-law that people could go to that if they preferred, but that we would not be attending. He said that sounds about right and told her he's going to younger son's party, since he requested time off for that. And if she wants another party another day to give him notice, she canceled or, I don't know, never organized the party, and then she talked about me behind my back to anyone and everyone that would listen for years to follow. I swear it doesn't matter how many stories I read, the audacity of people and what they'll try always baffles me. I want to read a comment posted with an answer from OP. The comment states, imagine trying to hijack a 4-year-old's birthday. Glad it worked out for you and your son. Gender reveals can logically take place at any time before the baby's born, so she can just pick another day and give everyone notice. This is when OP replies, agreed. She had to have known for at least a month in advance when the sex of her baby would be revealed. The doctor always reminds you so you can plan to have your spouse there. She had notice, and just did not make the effort to plan anything. Okay guys, let me know exactly what you think of this or if you've ever been in a similar situation. Our final story of the day is about an abusive grandmother who force feeds the kid food until the point the kid is gigantically obese. This is exactly what happened, and exactly why the father did not stop it. My mother passed away when I was 1.5 years old. From then on till I was around 11, my care was entrusted entirely to my grandmother. That vile witch knew she had power over a defenseless little girl, and decided to abuse the hell out of it for her own amusement. My dad at the time was going through some legal and financial struggles. He married my stepmother when I was 4, but my grandmother would not let her cook for me. She threw tantrums and begged my dad to let her remain in charge of every aspect of my life. By the way, we're Indians, and in our culture, it's customary for elderly parents to stay with their adult children. So there was no escape for me. My stepmom would cook for my dad, stepbrother, and herself, and my grandmother would cook for herself and me. The food she made for me on a daily basis is something no responsible caregiver would allow a child to consume regularly. She cooked deep-fried, fatty food along with overly sweetened desserts. I hardly ever got to eat fresh veggies or fruits. For my school lunch, she gave me the same. On more than one occasion, my teacher expressed concerns over what I was eating. When my dad brought this up with her, she would put on an Oscar-worthy performance and would cry about how I was her baby girl, how she was doing the best she could, and how dare my father suggest that she wanted anything less than the best for me. My dad, at the time, was pretty spineless, so he decided to let her do as she pleased in order to maintain peace. As expected, I began to balloon up. By the time I was 8, I was already morbidly obese for my age. I could not run without running out of breath after a short distance, as I was not getting the required nutrients, only fried junk. I was also anemic. I looked huge but was actually quite weak. And, of course, with my obesity came the ruthless bullying from my peers. I had no friends and bullies found me irresistible. My self-esteem was as low as it could be. I also had to stutter at the time, so you can imagine how fun school must have been. My grandmother, of course, placed the entire blame on me. She told almost every day that I was a fat and disgusting freak, that my stutter was a punishment from God, that I would never have friends, along with many other horrible things that one can say to break a child. My dad never intervened. His marriage to my stepmom was suffering. Grandma made a huge contribution to that mess. For about a year, my stepmom actually took my stepbrother and moved back with her parents. Can't say I blamed her. As I got older, I got fatter and angrier. At age 13, I was a ball of rage on legs. I began to realize what my grandmother has done to me. I knew what she's been stuffing me with for years, and it's what made me obese. I'd now taken to hitting her when she would mock me. I would punch her, kick her, and even drop constant reminders that her husband left her for her sister. She would bawl about it, how cruel I was, and I'd get punished. But I began to refuse the food that she would cook, and thus would cause her to bawl some more. My dad had too began to realize that my health would deteriorate to the point of no return if I kept consuming my grandmother's slow poison. He always reprimanded me very strictly for my violent outburst, but he did support my efforts to live healthier. However, losing all that weight was no easy task. I struggled for years, and finally as I entered my early 20s, I was a normal weight. Today, I'm super fly fit. I run, I practice yoga, and an ancient Indian form of martial arts called Kalorapayattu. My grandmother, too, suffered the consequences of her poor diet. She became diabetic and in her old age was almost entirely bedridden. Thank you so much for listening and all your support. Okay, this story was complete full of toxicness and vileness. But first, I want to state, if anyone out there is suffering from obesity and you want to change your lifestyle, you can do this. I know it's tough, but I believe in you. And there's people out there who are willing to help. Experts. Okay, guys, let's talk about the opinion now. I think that this grandmother was straight up vile. I don't know her reasoning for this, but I'm so glad OP decided to change. She said, you know what? I'm not going to let you decide my life. Okay, guys, drop your thoughts down below about all these stories and let me know your opinions. I hope each and every one of you have a great day, and remember, if you are suffering with anything, reach out to me, private message, comment, and we'll talk about it. Okay, have a great night, guys.